All right. So, good afternoon to everybody, early evening, however you sort of frame the moment. I have been watching some video regarding kind of why we meditate. I know that we talk about this a lot. I think about this a lot. So I was just watching some video of some different people and kind of how they explain kind of the why of meditation. And so what I just sort of want to talk about kind of the way that they frame this. What they talk about is that we meditate, and everybody kind of has their own reasons for meditating. And if we run around this room for the three of you that are here and myself, we probably all have some different personal reasons for why we meditate and kind of what we get out of it. And some of the beauty of it, obviously, is it is a very personal type of experience. But in listening to the quote unquote so called experts, who talk about this and are way more experienced and educated about this than I am. They talk about a couple of things that's pretty consistent. The first one they talk about is that to be able to sort of understand our minds and to learn to observe our minds, as opposed to just sort of being in our minds and letting it kind of roll forward. I think is kind of the best way I can understand it and the kind of language that they use. So this kind of idea that what we're doing is we're almost sort of taking our mind as if it was a thing, if you will, and putting it outside of us and being able to observe how it functions and how it works. And of course, the mind is this inanimate, metaphysical kind of object that we define in a lot of ways. Our mind, our soul, our core, a lot of different words that we use. But it's the ability and the training for us to actually observe what it happens. And the idea in it is that as we observe it, what we can do is that we can begin to see what thought patterns, what patterns in our mind that exist that bring us, in the language of the Buddhists, suffering, or what they refer to as dukkha, which is Sanskrit and doesn't exactly sort of translate to suffering, but it's one of the better ways we have to do it. Or it also gives us insight into what brings us happiness. What are the thought patterns that bring us happiness? So we can begin to start to differentiate. When I get into this mode of thinking, I feel badly, I feel stressed, I feel disappointed, I feel unhappy, whatever, however you want to frame that. But when I get into these patterns, this is when I feel joy, I feel contentment, I feel happiness, I feel fulfillment. And if we observe our mind, we can sort of see which patterns sort of lead us in that direction. And so they have this sort of this nice sort of way of looking at this, which I thought was really good. And so it's kind of if we understand how our mind works and we understand the patterns that lead us to the feelings of contentment and happiness and joy and compassion and all those sort of good things, if you will, then we make wiser choices. If we make wiser choices for our mind, it increases our contentment and our happiness, which leads us to making wiser choices. So the notion is we get into this cycle where we spend more time in what I'll frame as the happiness zone as opposed to the unhappiness zone. And what the language they use for this is they talk about seeing our minds so that we can see skillful thoughts, ones that lead us to happiness, that they frame in a way that we think of as skillful. You know, when we're doing any tasks that we're good at, there are things we do that are skillful that lead to a good outcome. If we know how to bake and cook, or if we're good at gardening or writing or whatever that is, there's skill in that, and we can key into those skillful habits and thoughts to allow us to get to that. And we can also see our unskillful thoughts, the ones that lead us down the path to dukkha or suffering or unhappiness or unsatisfaction or uneasiness or what, however you want to do it. So, I think that's a good way to sort of think about why we meditate, in terms of what we're looking for. And over the course of many weeks, we'll sort of talk about the how part. And the most important point of all of this is that by doing this, we get to experience this for ourselves. And that's kind of the beauty of it, right? We can self-correct if we can see our minds and see the way our minds work. We have the ability to self-correct and to engage in a higher density and an amount of skillful thoughts versus unskillful thoughts, which leads us into sort of that positive cycle. So I thought that was a good way to put it. That was a lot of that came from a video by the guy by the name of Joseph Goldstein, who has been studying Buddhism for the last 60 years, and he's done a series of really interesting videos, which get pretty in depth. So I think that that's that's pretty good. So all right, so with that, we will sort of just move into our meditation for tonight and go from there. So let me get my watch going, and I got us set for about 20 minutes. Okay, so wherever you are, in your homes, on your beds, on the floor, in your most comfortable chair, kind of settle in and just sit back, lean back, feel your body as it sort of sits in the chair. Feel the pressure of your body on the chair. Kind of dig into your sensations of all the things that you're feeling as you sit. So if it's pressure, or the fuzziness of the chair, or you feel the softness of your bed, or you're leaning against a nice, comfortable back of a seat, sort of key into the part of your body that is feeling the most comfort and listen to those sensations. Uh, Feel them tactily against your body, the light pressure, perhaps the softness of the cushioning, the temperature and the warmth of the chair, the warmth in the room that you're in, just sort of settling in and gaining your focus and your centering through that initial process. And as we sit, think about what you brought with you today to our session. What feelings are there? What emotions are with you? Whatever that is, just kind of allow that to arise. Take a look at it, examine it. Is it comfort? Is it fatigue? Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it joy? Is it excitement? Whatever sort of arises for you. And rather than seeing it or feeling it inside of you, try to take it out and bring it to the outside of you. And what I want you to do as we sit here and we get ourselves centered is to take a few deep breaths and just follow your breath in very slowly. As always, we want to trace our breath in, feel it coming into our noses. Up, we can feel the air sort of moving, actually feel the sensation of the moving air, the narrowing down as it gets into the top of your nostrils, and watching it or feeling it or seeing it even come around. Try to envision your breath like a water wheel, in an old mill that you might see in an old New England village or some village somewhere, where what you're looking at is a water wheel in a mill, and there's a stream that's running, and you're watching the stream, and it's moving the water wheel, and the water comes up, gets to the top, and that's the inhale, and then drops out the bottom, which is the exhale. And kind of keep this image in your mind as you sit, and let's follow our breath. So we breathe in and we breathe out. And we breathe in and we center ourselves. And by centering ourselves, what I mean is we keep ourselves very much in the present moment. And we keep ourselves aware of the sensations around us, what's arising inside of us, what we're feeling from both the external and the internal environments. And we are trying to stay right in that place. We're not pulling from the past. We're not thinking about or planning for the future. We are right here. Anything that arises in us keeps us in that present moment, and we are there. So we breathe in, we center ourselves, and we breathe out. And we breathe in, and we slow everything down as my voice slows. Slow the movements of your mind. And it's not so much that we actually slow our minds, but that we key into the focus and the moment and our focused attention to see all the pieces of it. It's almost the difference of watching a car zoom by on the highway at, say, 75 miles an hour, and it just looks like a rocket ship going past us, as opposed to watching someone on a bicycle maybe pedaling at 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, slowly, where you can see the wheels turning, you can see the person and their legs moving, you can notice what they're wearing, and they move past you at a pace where you can see all the small pieces and all the intricacies of their movement as they roll into your vision. They're in the center of your vision. They are out of your vision. You can hear the bicycle coming. You can hear the wind as it rushes past the person. You can hear it sort of fade as the bicycle fades away. So we want to slow our minds into this place where we can see everything. And of course, we are not looking with our eyes. We are looking with our mind, and at the same time, we are looking at our mind. So let's take a moment just to breathe in silence. I'll use the mantra word centering as we come around to keep us focused and to keep us settled and to really attend to our focused attention. So we breathe in and we center. We breathe in and we are centered. We breathe in and we are centered. And as we sit, we envision ourselves in front of a mirror. Big mirror takes up the whole opposite wall. And on that wall, we project our mind out there, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. And we gaze into that. And we look at what we see. And what do we see arising as we look at our mind? What do we see that is happening? Right? We just watch this. What arises? Is it emotion of happiness, sadness, calmness? What is there? And work to picture that, to put a picture to that feeling, that sense, that thought, that sensation. And watch it rise up on this mirror and watch it move forward. Watch it roll almost from left to right on the mirror as your mind, because it's always moving, is not a stagnant picture. It is a moving picture. And so we use the mirror to be able to see that happening. So if we think about, or a thought arises about how we're feeling, that we're feeling content, we're feeling happy, we're feeling excited, look at it and attach it to what's happening in your body. And the emotion and the feeling and what you see in the mirror should be yours. And try to attach it to your body. Where in your body do you feel it? If it's happiness, is it a feeling of lightness that comes with that? If it's stress, is it a feeling of heaviness that comes with it? If you're angry, do you feel held by it? Try to connect it in your mind to your body and how you see it, your vision of it, and what it means to you. And just look at it. See it as if it's a new piece of clothing you're buying at the local Walmart or the Kohl's store. And you're putting it in front of you and you're kind of laying it over your body if it's a blouse or a pair of pants or a sweater. And you're looking at it and you're seeing it. Move away from whether it looks good or bad and just seeing what it looks like on you. Just try to envision it, the color that it has, the look of the fabric, perhaps, the feel of the fabric, the attachment to what parts of your body, what parts of your mind light up when you look at this and you see it. Do you like the way it looks? And does something light up in you that signifies that? Recognize that and see it. And just kind of look at that. Put the piece of clothing back on the rack. We've decided to let it float away. We're not going to purchase it today. We're just going to let it float away. And we're going to let whatever rises arise. And we're going to try to picture it, see it, hear it, feel it, touch it, all of those things as it rolls across our mind. And so we come back, and we come back to our chairs and our seats, and we take a deep breath. And we put that mirror away for a moment. But we stay very focused in the present. And we want to move ourselves out. Now that we have looked and examined and observed what our mind is doing, and we've seen the tiny pieces of what the mind is doing, we want to go outside. And we want to imagine ourselves out on a sunny day in a warm climate. Perhaps we're in a tropical climate. We're moving ourselves there. We're sitting in a chair, a beach chair. And as we sit on that beach chair, we feel the warmth of the sun. We feel the softness of the chair as it kind of customizes itself to our body. We feel a warm breeze. We have a nice cold drink next to us. We look at the drink. We could see it kind of sweating, sort of the condensation that comes. And we touch the drink with our hand. And we feel the dampness, the water, the moisture on it. We feel how that feels against our hand. We are in tune to just the moisture on our hand, the coolness of the moisture, and the movement through our body. We pick the drink up, we look at it. Perhaps it is a beer, a glass of wine, a glass of juice, a cold soda, a drink with lots of ice in it for a cold day. Picture one that suits you, that suits what's arising in you, in your feeling. Match it to what's happening inside of you to sort of get in that moment as we kind of work our way through this guided meditation. Take a sip, feel the glass on your lips, feel the liquid as it enters your mouth. Let it glide over your tongue. Perhaps it's sweet, like strawberry or some sort of fruit with pineapple, maybe coconut, orange juice. And let it sort of just roll down your throat and feel it all the way down. Put the glass down and take out your mirror for a second again. And as you're sitting on the beach, as you're feeling the sun, the warm breeze, the sensation of the drink you just had, look at what arises. Look at what your mind is doing. Look at how your mind is processing the experience. What's arising in you? Where do you feel it? Where do you sense it? See that. It's almost as if in that mirror, there's an image that's just sort of turning that describes this for you, that allows you to see the experience, to see how your mind processes the experience. And come back to your chair. You can put the mirror away. Let it drop. Let it just disappear. It's just gone. It goes off. We're back in our chair. We're back on the beach. We can feel our toes in the sand. We can feel the grittiness of the sand, the warmth of the sand. And we sort of sit there with that. And we look out and we see the ocean. Perhaps we're in the Caribbean. Perhaps it's the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean. And we see the tide as it comes up and rolls in and then just short of our feet. And then we watch it roll back. And we key into the constant motion of everything around us. The movement of the water receding, the movement in our breath as we inhale, and the movement of our breath as it leaves our body. The movement of the air as the wind blows, the movement of the leaves of the palm trees as it is on sort of behind us or surrounding us on this beachy area. Everything is moving, including our mind, as we take in this scene. We watch as we focus our attention on one thing and we observe it and we allow it to impact us and see what rises when that happens. We turn our heads, we focus on what we hear, the rumble of the water coming at us gently, and we see what arises with that. We examine how we react to it, what rises, what emotions arise, what comes over us. How does that feel like? We take in the whole experience. And unfortunately, we have to leave this place. And we come back to our homes and our places in everyday life. And now we place ourselves in our vehicles and we're driving down the road. And we have to pay attention to what's happening on the road. Cars are going by. The weather maybe is kind of rainy or snowy, and the road is wet. And we're driving, and cars are whizzing by. Somebody cuts us off. What arises as you envision this? Perhaps some tension, maybe some anger arises because the car cut you off. Perhaps some anger wells up in you, and you recognize these emotions, these feelings. How does that connect to your body? Where do you feel that? Do your shoulders tighten? Does your mind start to get angry? See that. Notice how as these emotions come over us, the changes that take place, and then as they're happening, slow yourself down. And see that, oh, when the car cut me off, anger arose. But rather than react to the anger, we can act skillfully by just letting it go. We don't know what the person in that car is thinking, what they're feeling, but it's not connected to us unless we allow that connection to happen. We can act skillfully and let it dissipate and go and continue on our way. We can act perhaps what we might call unskillfully, is decide to speed up and try to pass that person and cut them off. Think about what's happening inside of you as each scenario plays out. And you can continue to drive, and slowly we can move ourselves back to our home and leave our cars behind. And we can let that go. And we come back to our houses, and we come back to our chairs, our beds, our mats on the floor, wherever we're sitting. And we take a deep breath. We breathe in. We breathe out. We center ourselves. We recognize our feeling and thinking states at this moment. What is arising as we sort of close out our meditation for Wednesday? And we look at that and we examine that. And we let it be and we let it go. And whatever else arises. And we come back to focusing our attention on our breath. And for maybe 30 seconds, we meditate in silence. So we breathe in and we recenter. We breathe in and we recenter. And we get ready to open our eyes. And namaste. May the light in me shine in you. Thank you very much.